Okay, so welcome. In this video, I will be talking about pandas. Okay, so we're going to introduce pandas. Then we will do a bit of work on pandas. So this is a crash course on pandas. So you get the overview knowledge about how to use pandas and when it is most effective to use pandas. So before you get started, you need to install pandas. On most laptops, you get this software pandas installed into the lab. So there's a couple of libraries that you'll be using: the pandas library, the numpy library, and the openpyxl library for you to work with your Excel file. Now, when you import pandas to make it work on this your sheet, to be available on this sheet on your kernel, you have to import it. So this is a step by step on how to import in pandas into your sheets. And once you've imported it, you're going to set your defaults. Now, the first default we set is the maximum numbers of column. Second we set is the width, how big we want our um, document, our table to be. And the next we set is the format. How do we want our decimal point to be? We set it to 2 decimal points. Now, with that, we are going to start the notes proper. So the first thing you need to understand is what is pandas. I keep talking about pandas. A pandas is the library that we use for anything data analysis within Python. So what is pandas? So pandas is a Python library used to work with data sets. Whenever you want to work with data sets, you use pandas. You don't use Python itself. You have to import the library called pandas. And what is a library? A library is just a collection of code, function, variables, and other Python related structure, data structure that was created by a third party that you can easily download, install on your PC, and utilize these functions already created for you. Now, this Panda that we keep talking about is a library in Python. So that's why you see we have to import it into our system to use it. So pandas has function for analysis or analyzing, cleaning, exploring, and manipulating our data. The name pandas is referenced from two words, panel and data, or Python data analysis. So the word pandas came from panel and data, but it's a software that helps us to create a more clear visualization of our data when we're working with it in Python. So Python was created by Wiz McKinney in 2008. So it's a relatively recent addition to the Python ecosystem. Pandas is relatively new. So why do we need to learn pandas? Pandas allow us to analyze big data and make conclusions based on statistical theories. It makes it very, very easy to work with statistical data. Pandas can clean messy data sets and make them readable and relevant. So pandas can be used for good data cleaning. Whenever you're working with a messy data set, you can use your pandas library to work on that. So now that we know what is pandas, why we need to learn it, so what can pandas actually do for us? I've hinted at some of them, but this is not the limit. There's so much more pandas can do for us. So so we can do things like find the relationship between two or more columns and find the average value, the max value, the minimum value. We can delete rows. We can change rows. We can do so much with pandas. This is just some of the things that we can actually do with pandas. And if you need to study more besides this note on pandas, you just click on this link. It will take you to the pandas documentation, pandas.pydata.org/doc. Now that we have learned why pandas and how to use these pandas, told you that pandas is an external library that is code other part written. So for you to bring it into your laptop so that you can use it, you need to use the pip function, the pip command. So pip is Python installer, Python package installer. So it allows you to install any kind of package into Python. Think of it like your Google Play Store in Android and your Apple Store in your iPhones and MacBook. So this is your pip. Now you use the pip followed by the instruction install followed by the library you want to install. So when you run this, you'll get a message telling you that this has been installed or is installing. So it depends on if you have it already, it will change the message you're going to get. Okay, you can see that I already have it installed on my PC. Now, once you've installed it, the next step to do to make it available to this file that you're working on right now is to import it. Now, to import pandas, all you need to do is, and mind you, you only need to import in each document you're running, each new file, you only need to import pandas just once. So if I open this file, say I open a new file, just go to new, and I want to use pandas, I only get to import this just once before I can use it. Okay, let's see what's wrong with this. Okay. If I want to use pandas, let's say pandas, if I run this, it is going to tell me that it doesn't know anything called pandas. There's nothing called pandas. So if I want to use, I have to import it first, once, at least once, before I can now use it for whatever I want to do. You can see now it's seeing pandas. You can see pandas and you can work with it. So you only get to do this once. Now, in anywhere, any other place, let me create a new sheet. I can use pandas and it will still give us a particular answer, a particular result, because it is now accessible to this file. This is what I was trying to explain. Let me just quickly delete this and close this. So always import your pandas. Now to use pandas, the main focus for pandas is to create data sets and data frame to work with data frame. So this is an example of us creating a data set using pandas. So this is a data set. If you are going to work with a data set as to come in normal Python, this is how it's going to look like. So this is a dictionary with key and value. You notice that the key is a single word and the value is a list of items. Now, picture for a moment this as a table where this key is the column name and this list of items are the rows in that particular column. Now picture a table that has one column called cars, then this row, another column called passing, then this rows. Now take note when you're creating such a table, the rows must match. That means this car has 3 rows, the passing should also have 3 rows, nothing more, nothing less. Now with this data, you can now create a table using pandas to make it easy for you to manipulate, modify, and clean and do whatever you want to do. Now, to do that, we are going to use in this pandas library, there is a function called data frame. Look at the spelling D, capital letter D, A T A, and capital letter F R A M. So this is spelling for data frame. Now I'm going to take this variable instead of this pandas, inside of this function, and I'm going to paste it in here. Okay, good. Now, when I do that, it will create me a table from this data, assign it to my value, my variable, and it will populate it. So you can see this is the new table we created using pandas. Okay, so this is how you normally would use pandas. Whenever you want to create your data, this is how you're going to do it. Now, we don't normally import pandas like this, just the whole word pandas, just import it that way. The reason being that you are going to be using these pandas a lot because you'll be taking a lot of functions from it, such as this data frame, the set options, so many functions. So you don't want to have to type this long sentence every single time you need to take in a value. What you do, you give it an alias. In SQL, we talked about what alias is. Alias is simply a nickname or a pseudonym for a particular library or name or object or variable. So now, whenever I'm importing my pandas, I will give an alias using as, the as keyword, and the alias I want. So PD is the default alias you get to see on a lot of people's projects. PD. When you see that, you know, okay, the person is probably referring to pandas and not anything else. Now, same concept, we have our data set. And instead of doing it with the pandas folder, I can just say pd.dataframe, then passing our data set into that and run it. And I will get, let me remove this print to make it look way prettier. So with the print, it doesn't look as clean as this, but without the print, let me bring the print back in. It will still come out, but it won't come out as neatly or as cleanly as you would love it. But this is supposed to be a data frame. Data frame is supposed to look like a table. So you see, let's see. Okay, my print is not supposed to be small letter P. You can see it still came out, but it's not looking as clean as it would if it was just a normal data frame. Now, mind you, one thing you should take note of when you're using data frame like this, make sure that the data frame is at the ending, nothing should come out after this. It should be the last thing so that it will actually display. If not, it will not display. Now that you've known about pandas, you've been able to learn why, what it is, who invented it. You've been able to import, download it into your system and import it. The next thing we are going to learn will be the pandas data structure, and I will do that on another video.